Okay, it's Sunday, and as predicted, I'm doing a doing a multiple day episode and or video. Some people don't like using the word video. I know it's not TV, but we have as you can see, plenty of snow. I'm the only one here, so any tracks animal-wise are going to be fresh from yesterday because the snow only happened last night for the time frame. So we're going to get moving. We're going to have a look around. That's going to basically, I forgot to bring the trail cams, but that's okay. If I'm of a mind, I can come back tomorrow and leave them again. But jury's out on that. So let's get moving and we'll do some tracking. I have to say, it's a beautiful day today. The snow's on the ground, nice and fluff and powdered. I mean, it'd be a good snowshoeing day if we had 3 or 4 more inches. It's only about 2 inches deep. But nice, fluffy, powdery snow, and nice day out. It's like 35, really. With a fleece and a shirt, you're fine, and with a hat. It's not cold at all. Yesterday was freezing. Today, not so much. And we're going to get moving now. So far, thank you. There are 0 tracks except for the odd squirrel or bunny, probably squirrel, but fresh snow, no tracks yet. Just have to comment again just how nice it is out, though. It's even though you hear the wind roaring in the background, it's temperature-wise not too shabby at all. No tracks though, so we'll have a look. I was kind of hoping to find some and do some tracking, but the day's still young, so we'll keep that going and just kind of doing a quick check-in to follow up on, the conditions report. I usually do that in the course of a video, kind of where we are today. Undergrowth. Just over the hill is the, I guess what I'm now calling the Yodi kill zone, because there's nothing there right now, but there was a deer kill there last week as well, which was new because the residual hair that was left behind by the pack was not there in the previous kill. So my prevailing theory on that is that's basically where they will chase a deer in corner and back it into a corner and then basically take him down and chow down respectively. Heading down into the tree line here a little bit, and maybe we'll have some luck with tracks down here. And I do have the drone with me again, but true to form in the winter, I wasn't here 2 minutes and the wind just kicked right in. Figuring from the way the trees are moving, it's probably in the mid 20 mile an hour range for speed, so that is borderline. I'll have to make a judgment call as to whether I put it in the air or not. I want to, but it's a little windy in this particular spot. I may rethink that. It's just, of course, I have the white spark with me today, and if it went down, what's on the ground? it would blend in quite nicely. But let's see what we got. I'm looking down the hill, and I don't really see a lot. I'm going to kind of walk this little triangle thing where there's been logging before. That's why it's kind of scruffy looking in here. But it opens up the area, which would make this kind of a wildlife highway too, to some degree. But I'm just not. I could understand them being more hunkered down if it was colder, but it's not cold at all. I brought a heavier fleece with me, and I'm not using it because, frankly, I would think I'd be getting warm in it, as in hot. But so I could understand if the animals were hunkered down if it was freezing, because yesterday it was downright cold up here. Struggling to get out of the teens, so it was chilly. Today, it's really quite nice in spite of the wind, but most of what would possibly be taken as tracks are basically just little bits of snow falling off the tree, making indents. So let's work our way through this triangle thing. And actually it's not really a triangle, is it? Alright, so we'll backtrack, and I get the honors of being the first person north thing to mark up the snow. Grab a nice view right there, because that is I've had a couple of shots over the period of time where I kind of get like this big sky looking kind of view right here. That's kind of nice. And that was not what you thought it was, and of course I'm lying, but we're gonna leave the area too, because apparently that isn't gonna smell very good for a bit. But this will be the video, if nothing else, you remember where I farted on camera. But these things happen. Anyway, go up here a little bit, and then we're gonna head down the hill off the meadow and work our way down the backside of the mountain looking for tracks there. Nice thing is, I'm like the first one here today, so there's literally no one here marking up cross-country skiing and that kind of thing, because sometimes you'll get a lot of that in there. They mark everything up, impairing tracking and things of this nature, but not so today. So I think we are going to take a break at this point so I can focus more on tracking and less on woody repartee. And as always, we'll return if we find anything of interest. Day's young. I could come upon something at any time. They don't seem, Yotes, deer, and that kind of thing don't seem to be up on the top part of the meadow right now. A little bit northwest of the high meadow, going down the side. Keep going. And really all I have seen are like small, they're either a squirrel or bunny tracks. It's actually kind of surprising how nice a day it is, and I haven't even seen a single deer track, which is surprising. They're usually plentiful. Not so today. So we'll try our luck up this way. There's an more open meadow area up here we can try. Really wanted to get an aerial shot with the drone, but the wind is not playing nice, which is damned unfortunate. It's one of those where it's just windy enough, it might be fine, and it might be a case that you have the thing get blown off course, and then you're playing the Find My Drone game in white snow. And I really don't want to do that. So that'll be one disappointment in the day otherwise. It's always nice to be the first person in a fresh snow. And the only tracks there are mine. Nice. But the wind is actually playing against the pleasant temperature, because it's warm enough that if I were to do hard march and exert, I would start to sweat. And it's just cold enough that as sweat freezes, that works against you. So I guess that's kind of a safety tip on my part for the video. Be aware that sweat freezes, so layer accordingly. In my case, I have an Under Armour shirt on, which to my benefit dries fairly quickly. Or like kinds of layers, so that if you do start to sweat, then you can mitigate it before it becomes a potential hypothermia risk, which, having had a minor bout with, you don't want that. It isn't good. Alright, so there's virtually nothing in the way of tracks out here. And it's not like the snow has had a chance to kind of like blow and drift over either. It's just, you have the odd bunny track, and beyond that, really nothing else. All is literally quiet out here. But since the view is here, this is kind of what I'm walking into. It's an area similar to the high meadow where it was, I'm not sure how many years ago, I want to say like 4 or 5, it was logged in spots. And it's opened up a couple of areas where you can kind of walk out and see into the distance. And the only genuine wildlife encounter I've had today is in wildlife. Down the way is a lady. There you go. About time. There you go, deer tracks. About time. Alright, sorry, I was having technical difficulties with the gimbal camera. I thought it was frozen up, like it's not cold enough for that. So Bambi came out through here, kind of like in this little divide, and is heading apparently down the hill into there. So, took long enough. Like one whole deer track in the whole place. But this down tree is new. Snapped in a, probably made a mighty crack when it did, though. You can see it broke up there and kind of went over, fell over from dead, it was like a deadfall. Must have made a lovely racket when that happened. Not quite totally blocking the path. E for effort, I suppose. But rather than bore you with more banter, we'll take another break. Okay, so
Cover a little ground and see
a couple minutes later, we're up
further
in the first of 2 meadows, and I've had to walk around and kind of under a couple of blown down trees, and 2 sets of deer tracks, but still they seem to, if the 2 sets are any indicator, rather than being in the high meadow, they're hunkered down in this stuff, either for cover against the cold last night or maybe against coyote packs. I don't know. I have not seen a single coyote track yet today, though. Just a rhino whiner, if that's what kind of dog the lady has. Kind of weird. I was coming down off the meadow, and there in the middle of nowhere is somebody's pooch. But then I saw the lady a couple of minutes later. She's letting her dog run around in the woods, probably having a grand old time. But I was hoping she wouldn't follow, because that is, she can have her space and I can have mine to explore and do some tracking and not be video impaired by her presence, or vice versa. But thought I might have better luck up here in the meadow too, and still, so far, nothing. Just snow and prickers. But I am not seeing any. So I guess the moral of this video will be enjoy the scenery such as it is. Meadow view. Coming back to the forest line in a bit, but basically you have like a gradual uphill to a plateau where we are now in this meadow, and then down there, down the hill, there's a second meadow, and if you go beyond that, there's a land trust where they don't want non-residents. In fact, we might be coming up on the boundary in the next few seconds. But without signs, I'm good to proceed. But the way the video is going, though, I think this is just going to end up being another one of those walk in the woods series where you're basically walking in the woods, and a quiet day is a quiet day. There's just not a lot of tracks about, so some kind of field mouse tracks right there. But the most interesting thing I found so far has been like a little snow tunnel that was probably done by a shrew. That's what they do in the winter. They have those like long bullet-like bodies, and they basically surf or tunnel through the snow like some lizards in Africa do through the sand. Kind of neat how they do that. But big tracks are basically limited to a couple of deer today. We going a little further. I don't think I've been in this far before, so maybe there's something interesting in here. But more field mice. We'll get to the end of this path, and I'm probably just going to take another break. Although here we have a weird looking U-shaped tree. So that's something. And if they're logging this, I hope they're not intending to cut that down, because it's like that's kind of kooky looking actually. So we're going to take a break here at the U-shaped tree, and we are going to take some photos and maybe adjust our clothing. I am starting to sweat now. So, per my advice before, I'm going to probably change that out, and we'll be back in a bit.